Nalyssa Smith and Angel Reese both got technical fouls, and things got a little chippy between the two.
Chicago's done a nice job defensively. Nice pass.
Right there.
How did Dejournay hit that to Smith? That was in our line of sight. There wasn't any daylight.
Yeah, the speed and accuracy of that pass.
Now we got some chippiness. Smith and Reese jawing at each other.
All right, stop scrolling, because the WNBA drama just hit a level that has the entire sports world talking, and it involves players getting into a heated moment on the court, with people saying the league's reaction was a total joke. We're talking about a situation that went down between Angel Reese and Nalyssa Smith, and the way it was handled is sparking outrage and raising huge questions about whether the WNBA is serious about controlling player behavior. This wasn't just a little bit of trash talk. Reports say it got intense, leading to penalties, but many people watching are saying the league's response was way too soft, like they just looked the other way. This whole thing is adding to the feeling that something just isn't right in the WNBA, and that maybe the league isn't handling its newfound spotlight and its players correctly. You're watching WNBA Scoop, and we're diving into this latest fight, why the league's light touch is making people seriously question its leadership, and why some are saying the WNBA is starting to look like a joke because it seems to ignore serious problems on the court.
Charles,
Give me that! Jesus, dude, when Nalyssa Smith is doing that to you, you know you just aren't ready for it, man. When Nalyssa Smith is D'ing you up, blocking her shot, folks, Angel, you cooked her up last year. What happened?
The Women's National Basketball Association is reportedly facing a big problem right now with how players are acting during games and whether the people in charge are doing their job to stop things from getting out of hand. The most recent incident that has everyone talking happened between Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky and Nalyssa Smith of the Dallas Wings. Reports say they got into a really heated situation on the court that wasn't just players competing hard like normal. It quickly became something that looked much more like a small fight that needed other players and the refs to step in and break it up. It got intense enough that both Reese and Smith ended up getting penalized with technical fouls, which is a common punishment for bad behavior or arguing with refs. But for many people watching the game, just giving them technical fouls felt like way too little of a punishment for how heated and potentially dangerous the situation got. This incident coming at a time when people are already really worried about how physical the games are getting, especially with the tough fouls Caitlin Clark has been taking, and her recent injury highlights a worrying trend of players letting things get out of control and getting into bigger and bigger confrontations on the court. People feel this kind of behavior is hurting the league and making it look unprofessional and sometimes chaotic.
By the way, this started off by Nalyssa Smith going for a rebound and Angel just shoving her. Just shoving her and then complaining to the refs. And by the way, I don't blame Angel Reese for, shoving people and expecting to get away with it. The referees have shown that you are allowed to shove people and get away with it. Like, that is a given. So
people are watching the video of the fight between Angel Reese and Nalyssa Smith, and you can see that things got tense fast and escalated quickly. It reportedly happened during a game where the Chicago Sky won against the Dallas Wings. Reports say it all started after Angel Reese committed a foul on Nalyssa Smith near the end of the game. What began as a simple basketball play, a foul called by the referee, quickly turned into something that looked much more serious for the league's image and for whether players are really safe out there on the court. Reports say that after the foul was called on Reese, she was complaining to the referee about the call. Then, Nalyssa Smith reportedly walked past Reese and said, or did, something that made Reese turn her attention away from arguing with the ref and back to Smith. Instead of letting the refs handle the situation and keep the players separated, Reese reportedly went right back at Smith, getting in her face, and they were talking heatedly right up close to each other. It got so intense and looked like it was going to get physical that teammates had to jump in fast and physically pull the two players apart to stop it from getting worse.
Now, if I was to take bets in this, Nalyssa Smith versus Angel Reese, I'm putting all of my $2.47. I'm putting all of that on Nalyssa Smith. All right, I'm not sure it would be even close. Like, I'm not sure Angel Reese would actually want that to turn into something where hands are involved?
People are reacting strongly to the video and the situation. Some people watching the game or the replays made comments about how heated Angel Reese was getting, and how it looked when Nalyssa Smith was able to get under her skin. One person watching reportedly said, in a direct way, "Charles, give me that. Jesus, dude." Reacting to how Angel Reese was acting towards Smith, maybe comparing it to Charles Barkley's straightforward commentary style. They said that if Nalyssa Smith, a player on another team, is able to get under Reese's skin and make her react like that, maybe Reese isn't as tough mentally or as ready for these moments as some people think. They even joked that Nalyssa Smith was cooking her up, using a basketball term for playing well, and that she was blocking Reese's shots, asking what happened to Reese compared to last year when she seemed to play better against Smith. This kind of talk, even as a joke, shows how people are reacting to Reese's behavior and how it's being seen as sometimes being more about acting tough and causing drama than about playing the game well under pressure.
What happened last year? Was it the Indiana Fever on the jersey? That made you go extra hard? Was it that other player on that team that was like, oh, that 22, oh, I really want to show her something? Is that what really made it? Because in these matchups against the Dallas Wings, you really haven't been anything special at all. Maybe Nalyssa Smith was tired of seeing her in a meme all offseason. Nalyssa's like, you know what? That next time I play her, I'm not going to let her cook me and do me like that.
Both players ended up getting technical fouls for their part in the argument and confrontation that needed teammates to intervene and separate them. But for many people watching, giving them just technical fouls felt like way too little of a punishment for how heated and potentially dangerous the situation got on the court. People are saying that giving them only technical fouls for getting into a face-to-face argument that needed teammates to separate them sends the wrong message. They think it shows that the league isn't really doing enough to control players' behavior and make them responsible for their actions in serious moments. People are worried that giving players just a technical foul for getting into a situation like this might make other players think it's okay to act like that because there's almost no risk of getting suspended for a game or facing bigger trouble from the league. People say the technical fouls show the league knew they crossed a line of professional behavior, but the lack of bigger punishments or suspensions might tell players that these kinds of aggressive actions and confrontations are not going to be met with serious consequences.
And if you guys don't remember, like even last season, the two of them were getting into it through the entire season. The two of them were getting into it, and you saw literally when the referees try to break it up, you saw them just go like, don't. Like the two of them want to get into it. And again, this is a rivalry.
People are pointing out that this fight wasn't just a one-time thing that happened out of nowhere. They're saying that Angel Reese and Nalyssa Smith have argued with each other on the court before, going back to last season when Reese was a new player in the league. People say that because there's a history of them not getting along and getting into heated moments during games, it shows that the WNBA hasn't done enough to deal with these kinds of ongoing problems between players before they become big public fights that make the league look bad on TV and social media. People are saying, wasn't the tough, often controversial, play back then supposed to be a wake-up call for the league to step up its officiating and its control over player conduct? Why are these players still having moments like this that get out of control and need teammates to break them up?
Through your perspective on the flagrant foul, what was the point you were trying to make to her?
It's just a good take foul, you know? If either Angel gets wide open 2 points or, we send him to the free throw line. Nothing malicious about it. It's just a good take foul. Every basketball player knows that.
People are asking if Reese's heated reactions are tied to who she's playing against. They're saying, what happened last year? Was it the Indiana Fever on the jersey that made you go extra hard? Implying that Reese plays differently or gets more emotional against certain opponents, particularly those connected to Caitlin Clark and the Fever. They ask if it's because of the rivalry with Caitlin Clark that Reese gets so fired up, and that's why she acts out in these games. People are saying that in matchups against the Dallas Wings, Reese hasn't always played her best, and they're wondering if it's because of this ongoing tension with Smith or her team. They're even joking that maybe Nalyssa Smith was tired of seeing Reese talked about all the time online for her off-court actions or moments of drama and decided to challenge her directly on the court to focus on the game itself.
Angel Reese playing like trash all game, but that confidence doesn't waver, I guess, right? The arrogance doesn't waver, right? We could miss layups, we can miss shots, but that confidence doesn't waver at all. I mean, look at this. Angel Reese, after going 3 for 12 on the night, at this point, she has a historic play where she elbows Dejanay out the way, and here we go. Move it, little girl. And yeah, Angel Reese talking that trash. Yeah, you guys can't stop me. I'm 4 for 13.
The way this fight went down, with players having to be physically pulled apart by their teammates, raises real worries about how well players can control themselves and their emotions during the heat of the game. People saw Smith show her frustration after the foul by hitting the ball on the ground, which is sometimes seen, but Reese's choice to turn away from arguing with the refs and go straight to arguing face-to-face with Smith shows a worrying lack of professional restraint and focus on the game. The fact that teammates had to jump in and separate them shows that it got more serious than just normal competitive back-and-forth talk between players, and it could have easily turned into something worse if teammates hadn't intervened.
So the WNBA might as well just name Caitlin Clark the MVP right now, because so far she's missed 2 games due to injury, and not only have the Fever lost both games, but now in this one, they lost to quite possibly the worst team in the league, which just shows how important of a piece she is to that team. She's averaging 19 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds a game this year in the 4 games she played. She is super important to that team, and it's proving it that she is the most valuable player on that team.
But people are saying the WNBA's reaction to this big moment was surprisingly quiet and soft. Both players just got the standard technical fouls, instead of maybe being suspended for a game or facing other serious action from the league. People are comparing this light punishment to how serious the situation felt, and how it looked on TV, with players needing to be physically separated. They're asking if the WNBA is really doing enough to stop players from acting out like this, or if they're more worried about keeping things quiet and not causing more controversy by giving bigger punishments. People feel that the league should be sending a strong message that this kind of behavior, players getting into near fights on the court, is not okay, but they didn't. The technical fouls show the league knew they crossed a line of professional behavior, but not adding more consequences might tell players that this kind of aggressive actions and confrontations carry minimal risk of serious penalties.
She's going to be out for a couple weeks. Let's see how viewership does in the 3 weeks that she's out. Let's see how ticket sales go when she's out. Let's see how the WNBA as a whole comes out. Because I think they're trying to make a message to the WNBA that, hey, look, we don't necessarily have to put this woman on a pedestal. Like, she doesn't need to be treated like Jesus, Mary, Mother of God, anything like that. But I think if the WNBA wants to go in the right way with these CBA negotiations and getting bigger and more prominent, they need to embrace change. And she is good change for the WNBA.
People who are upset about this situation are saying that the fight between Reese and Smith isn't just about these 2 players. They think it's part of a bigger problem in the WNBA where players seem to be getting more aggressive and getting into more public fights on the court. They point to other incidents that caused a lot of talk, like the controversial hard foul by Chennedy Carter on Caitlin Clark earlier in the season, which led to a big argument and penalties. They say that incident, where a hard foul led to a big argument and more fouls being called, shows how heated things are getting in the league in general, and how players are sometimes pushing the limits of what's acceptable. People remember the moment between Clark and Reese during the season opener, where Clark committed a foul on Reese that the refs called a flagrant foul, which is a more serious type of foul, and how that moment also led to technical fouls and a lot of talk about player conduct.
WNBA refs off Craigslist, because I don't know what's going on. So you mean to tell me Angel can not only grab and pull the girl down on her, no call, but then Boston got her hands straight up in the air, not doing nothing, and the other girl tangled up in her, and then Boston get called for the foul? It's obviously an agenda out on Indiana Fever. Even with Caitlin sitting on the bench, they still doing this. Somebody please tell me what's going on.
People are saying that even normal basketball plays seem to be causing bigger problems and arguments now because the overall feeling in the league is more physical and confrontational. They say that even though Clark said her foul on Reese was just a normal play to stop the other team and not meant to be mean, the refs calling it a flagrant foul shows how closely things are being watched now and how small things can become big deals and lead to arguments. But people are saying that Clark's reaction to that moment, where she stayed professional and explained what she was trying to do, is very different from how some other players are acting. who seem to get into arguments and cause drama more often. They say that the growing number of technical fouls and fights in the league points to a bigger issue than just a few players acting out. It shows that players are struggling with controlling their emotions and actions under pressure.
Not seeing Angel Reese chase after Nalyssa Smith here. This is one of those basketball fights where no basketball things where people chirp at each other and they don't jump up and run after the person. Like, you know it's a bit different on that one there. And by the way, I don't think that the situation with Caitlyn and Angel shows that they hate each other. I think they just hate each other, period. I think they just hate each other in general.
People are saying that the growing number of fights and technical fouls is bad for the WNBA because fans come to watch great basketball, not players arguing and pushing each other around like it's a schoolyard fight. They say every minute players spend fighting or arguing is time that could be used to show how skilled and amazing women's basketball players are, which is what people want to see. People see a big difference between players who handle tough moments professionally and stay focused on the game, and players who seem to get into fights or cause drama over every little problem. People feel that some players use every small issue on the court as a reason to start a public fight or cause drama, instead of just focusing on playing better basketball and helping their team win. They say this makes things unfair because some players get attention and talk for causing problems or acting out, even if they aren't playing well, while other players who are playing great don't get as much attention or talk for their skills. People are pointing to Angel Reese and saying she sometimes plays like trash, meaning not very well, in a game but still acts very confident and causes drama. They show videos of her missing shots but still acting tough or arguing, which people find strange and unprofessional. People are saying that the way players are acting is a big problem, especially now because Caitlin Clark is hurt and not playing. Clark's injury is a huge loss for the league because she's the player who brings in the most viewers and sells the most tickets right now. Her injury happened after a game where things were very physical, and her being out makes people worry more about players getting hurt and if the league is doing enough to keep them safe and control the physical play. Her being out also affects the games because she's so important to her team and to the league's popularity. People are saying that even though Clark's specific injury might not be directly from a hard foul in that game, the fact that she's hurt and that there are so many fights and rough plays in the league right now makes people ask serious questions about player safety and if the league is doing enough to keep its players from getting hurt. Her being out also affects the games because she's so important to her team and to the league's popularity. Her absence is hurting the league's momentum and the excitement that was building up. People are saying that the big difference between how Clark handles things when tough stuff happens, staying professional and talking about the game, and how some other players act, getting into arguments and causing drama, is becoming very clear. People say that Clark's injury and her being out show how important it is to protect players who are good for the league's image and success. They think that even though she's focusing on playing well and being professional, other players are still trying to cause problems or get attention in ways that hurt the league's image and take away from the game. People feel that Clark fills arenas and brings in TV viewers because she's an amazing basketball player who acts like a pro and plays hard. They think this shows that being good at basketball and acting professional is what brings real success and respect, not just causing drama or acting out. Some people are saying that the WNBA needs to grow up and deal with these player behavior problems more seriously. They say players like Angel Reese need to stop focusing on drama and just play basketball. They think if Reese played better and acted more professionally, she would get more respect and attention for the right reasons based on her skills, not just her drama. They say that Angel Reese and Nalyssa Smith getting into a fight, and the league not doing much about it makes the WNBA look like a joke to people watching. People are saying that the fight between Angel Reese and Nalyssa Smith is more than just a small fight. It shows a bigger problem with players acting out and the league not doing enough to stop it. People are saying the league needs to make stricter rules and make sure players follow them, especially when it comes to fighting or acting aggressively. They say that the league needs to choose if it wants to have drama that gets short-term attention or if it wants to be a real professional sport with good players who act professionally and bring long-term success and respect. People are saying that the players who are the most successful and who make the most money in the league show that being good at basketball and acting like a professional go together. They think the league should expect all players to act this way and that players should learn from the best players how to handle themselves. People feel that the league needs to take action now to fix these problems with player behavior and make sure the games are fair and safe for everyone. They say that if the league doesn't do this, they might lose the chance to become a much bigger and more popular sport, which is something they have been trying to do for a long time. People are worried that if the league doesn't do something soon, they might lose the big chance they have right now to become a much bigger and more popular sport. They think the league needs to show that it is ready for the spotlight and ready to protect its biggest stars and make sure the games are played fairly. If they don't, people are saying they might lose everything they've gained because the drama and the lack of seriousness might turn fans away. People feel that the league needs to understand that fans want to watch real basketball, not just see players fighting or acting out. The future of the WNBA, people are saying, depends on the league fixing these problems and showing that they are ready to be a major professional sport. What do you think about the fight between Angel Reese and Nalyssa Smith? Was the league's response enough? Let me know in the comments below.